What's going on, guys? I'm Zach from the Lumios Post, where we talk about all things Pokemon, and today we're going to be talking about an Eeveelution for Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. With every new generation, there are two things that people want: new Pokemon, and then specifically a new Eeveelution. Eeveelutions are always adored as Eevee. Their pre-evolved form is always adored, and we previously had a pattern where Eeveelutions were introduced every other gym. We had Gen 2 introduce Espeon Umbreon, Gen 4 introduced Glaceon Leafeon, and then Gen 6 introduced Sylveon, and then Gen 8 didn't give us one. We didn't get an Eeveelution. So everyone is anxiously awaiting and hoping for a new Eeveelution in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. And to be honest, I think that the chances are pretty good, because if you look at the anime right now, spoilers for the anime, if you don't want to be spoiled on Pokemon Journeys, maybe catch up and then hop back on this video. This is just going to be about Chloe and her arc. But on Pokemon Journeys, Chloe has an Eevee, and this Eevee can't evolve. They've handed it Fire Stones and Water Stones and Thunder Stones, and it won't evolve. They say its DNA is unstable, and it has been going around and kind of meeting all the Eeveelutions. In fact, currently in Japan, it has already met all of its evolutions in an attempt to kind of try to figure out the path it wants to take. And the way they built this up, there's a lot of speculation that Eevee could find its own path and end up evolving into a brand new Eeveelution. And so on that note, we're going to talk about what kind of Eeveelution that could be, what type it could be that would fit really well with Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. Okay, so the first one that we're going to talk about is the flying type. There's the least amount of evidence for this one, but it's the one I most want. I feel like the flying Eeveelution could easily look a bit more feminine, which probably would be the route that Chloe's Eevee takes, because it is a girl. It's confirmed to be a girl Eevee. So I think that, it would really work as opposed to something like Dragon or Rock or Fighting. And also, we know that windmills are going to be in Scarlet and Violet. There's a area with a bunch of windmills, and it seems pretty windy because there's Hoppip flying about. And we also know that windmills are kind of important to the Spanish culture, with Don Quixote. One of the famous scenes from that famous literature is where Don Quixote fights a windmill, believing it to be a giant. So, with all that together, a flying type Eevee could really work, but I admit there's evidence towards other types. Okay, so looking at Portugal, there is a animal, or a fictional animal really, called the Barcelos rooster, and it comes from this fairy tale where basically this man is sentenced to a crime he didn't commit, and he sees a dead rooster and basically says, if I'm innocent, that rooster will stand up and crow. And sure enough, the rooster comes up from the dead and crows. And so this icon has kind of become the Barcelos rooster. It's really famous. Because of that, I think that maybe they could do a similar story with Eevee in Scarlet and Violet and make a ghost-type Eeveelution. Obviously, they probably wouldn't have a man being sentenced to death, because that's a little too dark for Pokemon, at least a lot darker than they've gone in recent years. But, maybe they could do something similar with the whole Eevee coming back from the dead by evolving into a ghost type. I don't know. I know that's not a ton of evidence, but I think it is a really cool story that could work for a ghost type Eevee. Alright, so next up is a dragon type Eeveelution. Dragon type Eevee is probably the most wanted type for a new Eeveelution. And in case you've been living under a rug, Spain and Portugal are a part of Europe. Europe has a ton of legends and fairy tales involving dragons. And so it would be pretty easy to just write a dragon Eeveelution, and it'd be easy to make it fit well with the region. There's not a lot to this one. It's just as simple as that. Dragons are a big part of European culture, and especially in Spanish and Portuguese culture. They're involved in some pretty big fairy tales there. So a dragon type Eeveelution would really work. And next to last, we have a steel type Eeveelution, and this is basically just coming from the idea of knights. Again, Don Quixote is a really popular literature in Spain, and basically it's about this man who he pretends he's living in the Middle Ages and pretends to be a knight going off and fighting dragons and stuff, and it's just so iconic to the Spanish culture. Like, it's literally, you think Spain, you think Don Quixote pretty soon after that. It would be perfect. A steel type Eeveelution that's kind of like a knight, and maybe they could like give it you make it like a little fox with a cute little oversized knight helmet or something, like it's pretending to be a knight. Something like that would be really cute, I think. And yeah, I think it would be awesome to reference something as iconic as Don Quixote with something as iconic as an Eeveelution. Okay, this next one is such an insane idea. This is the last one we're going to cover, and it's so insane, and it will work so well with both Scarlet and Violet and with the anime and Chloe's current arc with Eevee, and of course I'll jump into how that is, and that will be a normal type Eevee. I think that this has the potential to be the favorite Eeveelution, and I know that sounds crazy because normal sounds like such a bland typing, but trust me, it really does. This normal type Eeveelution could potentially have the ability to change its type. Now, where this is coming from is from @senpai_tuba on Twitter, who reported that in Gen 2, they had the day and night thing and friendship become a really big deal, and so they gave Eevee Eeveelutions based off of that. Espeon, it evolves into with friendship at daytime. Umbreon, it evolves with friendship at nighttime. Then, in Gen 4, there's all these different ways you evolve Pokemon. It's no longer by like a stone or trait or leveling up. It's they learn a certain move, or you give them an item at nighttime, or they hold an item while you trade. All these things, and Leafeon and Glaceon got a weird evolution. Eevee evolved into them by being in certain spots on the map. You had to be at the Mossy Rock or the Icy Rock to evolve into Leafeon and Glaceon respectively. Then Gen 6. Gen 6 has Pokemon-Amie with this affection feature into it, where it's a little different from friendship. You can only do it through Pokemon-Amie. And it also introduced the fairy type. So now, if you max your Eevee's affection and you teach it a fairy type move, it will evolve into Sylveon in Gen 6. Well, in Scarlet and Violet, we know that typing is playing a huge role in the games. We can pretty much gather this by the plaza shown multiple times throughout the trailer. And so a lot of people are speculating, that it will be the gimmick. So it's very plausible that this Eevee could just evolve into a slightly bigger Eevee, a normal type Eeveelution that can change its type, referencing the gimmick of these games. Now, to show how this would also really work with the anime, once again, Eevee is learning about all its different types, and it even has the move Copycat, where it will copy its evolution's moves. So, like, it'll in each episode that it meets one of the Eeveelutions, it ends up copying one of their elemental moves, like Vaporeon's Hydro Pump or Sylveon's Fairy Wind. So, it would actually really work for Chloe's Eevee to evolve into an Eeveelution that can do all these things. It can keep the Fairy Wind and keep the Hydro Pump, because it can change into the type of each one of the Eeveelutions. Its path ends up being no one path. It ends up being, I want to do it all. And so I think that will work really, really well with Chloe's arc and Eevee's arc, as well as really tying into Scarlet and Violet. So, I mean, yeah, this one's just insane, but I really think if they did a normal type Eeveelution that could change type, that would become the fan favorite Eeveelution. Well, there you have it, guys. Those are a few types that will work really well for an Eeveelution in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on these, which one would be your top pick, and let me know how you feel about that last one. I know that that idea is so insane, but maybe it's just insane enough to work. Anyways, of course, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. If there is an Eeveelution in these games, we, of course, will report on it when we know about it. And we'll be reporting on all other things Scarlet and Violet as well. Until next time, I will see all of you later.